Hello, everyone, and welcome to another conversation in Meat Week. Today, what a thrill talking to my dear friend Amber Wentworth, who is Lone Star Keto, which I'm sure many of you will know. Thank you so much for being a part of Meat Week, Amber.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here.
I'm very excited too. So, do you want to just maybe start by sharing? Oh, actually, before we start, I beg your pardon. So, I just obviously letting you all know that while you are watching this seemingly live, this is a pre recorded chat. So, Amber is well and truly on the other side of the world. So, it's great. We can set a time that suits both of us to show up. But so we won't be able to answer your questions live. But if you have questions, please put them in the comments below. And I'm sure Amber will be able to come back and answer those when she can. So sit back and relax and enjoy the knowledge and the wisdom that Amber is going to bring to you around carnivore and how it's completely changed her life. So do you want to, Amber, start with just sharing a little bit around you and what your, I guess, how you live in the carnivore space right now?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just give a little bit of background on myself. I am a nutrition and life coach, and I also coach for MeatRx as a carnivore and intermittent fasting coach. And I'm also a podcast host for MeatRx's success story. So that's how I'm kind of in the space, if you want to say. I started carnivore in March of 2017. And I'm sorry, 2019. Yeah, I'm getting my keto confused. But I was keto from June of 2017. And then 2019 in March is when I kind of merged into carnivore. And it was really pretty easy for me, to be honest, because by the end of 2 years of being on keto, I had already kind of weeded out all the keto, fun stuff, the desserts and the replicating every single thing that you used to love. So I kind of, it was an easy transition for me. And now, I mean, I pretty much just eat meat. And I know people are like, what? You can't do that. You got to have your vegetables. Uh, Actually, no, you don't. No, you really don't. I haven't had any for over 2.5 years now, so I'm doing great. As far as the biggest thing that I noticed when I moved from keto to carnivore is all my digestive issues were gone, like gone. And it's issues that I had since I was really young, like 3 years old. And it's because I ate tons of vegetables, which I loved. I'm not going to lie. And at one point, I thought I could probably be vegetarian, but not vegan, but vegetarian. But I never quite went that far. I still ate chicken and fish, that kind of stuff. But now with the meat, that's all I care about. And getting rid of the fiber from the vegetables was a game changer for me. Absolutely game changer. I thought my digestion was tons better on keto. I had no clue. I had no clue. And did you know that it's actually not normal? It may be common, but not normal to constantly have gas, bloating, indigestion, and constipation. Did you know that? Yeah. And I had no clue until I got rid of the plant stuff that apparently was causing me issues. And now my gut is just humming right along. I have like zero issues unless I overdo dairy, which I normally don't do, but I've been on this kick of omelets. So I want like cheese. And then plus I have a little bit of heavy whipping cream in my brewed cacao. So sometimes I will get a little bit of a tummy, kind of, and so I have to kind of cut back on the dairy. But
Okay. But it's still worth it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So let's just tell everyone too that you are a grandma. I know you look 21, but you're
Oh, well,
not
thank you. Bless you.
21.
No, oh God, no. I'm 55. Just turned 55 last month. Yeah. Yeah, and I have a 2.5-year-old
Amazing.
granddaughter. Matter of fact, I start keeping
Oh,
her again tomorrow because my daughter is going back to teaching. It's, that time of year again. So I've kind of had the summer off a little, but now she came over to visit today, and so she's really excited to get to come to Gigi's house tomorrow. So yes, I
oh.
am a grandmother. Yes, I am.
Wow, wow. So do you remember um what was it that that convinced you from go keto to carnivore? What was that? How did that happen for you?
Well, actually, it was kind of just one of those things. I was doing a podcast with a friend of mine, and he was carnivore. I was the keto person. We called our podcast the Ketovore Cast. So I did the keto part, he did the carnivore part. And he just kept giving me, grief about, you're going to end up carnivore. The road from keto ends at carnivore. You're going to get there. And I was like, yeah, whatever. You got to have your veggies, right? And so I had a few issues. I was still on one blood pressure medication, and I had rosacea, like it's just like a little bit still left on my nose. I still kind of had that Rudolph look. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll do the 30-day challenge, and just so I know what I'm talking about, because I advocate for low carb, keto, whatever. And I figured I needed to know the full spectrum from low carb
Yeah.
all the way to the other end of carnivore, which is, yes, still considered to be part of a ketogenic diet, just the far side of it, because most of us are in ketosis, and I can say I am. I measured that to prove the point. I am. So I just gave it a go just to kind of see what it was like, and it was so easy. It was so easy. And within a couple of days, my digestion improved so much that I was like, wow. I knew I always had an issue with fiber, but I always thought it was added fiber, like flax seeds, or, adding chia seeds, and, eating bran or whatever. I thought that's my issue. I never thought of fruits and vegetables as having fiber that was hurting me. I don't know
Mm.
why because, vegetables and fruits, they're good for you. You're supposed to eat them. They're supposed to help with digestion, blah, blah, blah. So it never even, dawned on me. But after just those couple of days, I was like, wow, okay. I couldn't toot if I wanted to. I had like zero gas left. I had like,
You're no
the
fun anymore.
yeah, I can't even if I wanted to, it's like, wow, so much. Okay, those contests are out the door now, I'm just kidding. I never did that, but whatever. Okay, so what? We'll just say that. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So, the whole digestion thing just blew me away. That was a huge thing for me. And within a couple of months, I was off my blood pressure medication, and my rosacea started getting a little bit better. That has just been one of the hardest things to deal with out of everything, is the skin issue. And
Mm.
I still will turn red here and there. Specifically, if I have too much dairy,
Mm.
that's affecting me. And I honestly don't have that much dairy except for the heavy cream in my the brewed cow. But
Mm.
I rarely have cheese. But when I do, I notice I'll get like a little bit of a rash right on my eye, and I'll actually get flaky scalp, and my rosacea comes back again. But anyway, so after a very short period of time, I noticed all these changes, and I was like, okay, cool. But what's really keeping me on it, well, the digestion part of it, that's awesome, is the simplicity. The simplicity.
Mm.
Holy cow.
Mm.
The thought
Mm.
of having to go back to cooking all these side dishes. You got to
Mm.
have your starch, you got to have your vegetable, then blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
And then sometimes you put the, dessert. I don't do any of that anymore. I occasionally will cook vegetables for my husband and, throw them in the microwave in the bag, hey, throw them in there. And that's, because he has to have a little bit of variety. Me, I'm like gagging as I'm cooking it because I smell like tonight. I cooked him broccoli and I'm gagging at the smell, and I'm like, good God, what is that smell? Oh, the broccoli. That's right. Because we don't have it very often, right? I don't eat it because it just does not appeal to me anymore. But yeah, so it is the simplicity. I can't even tell you how much of a difference that makes in my life. I don't have time for that anymore. I just don't have time to spend. When I was doing keto, I used to spend a good 2 to 3 hours in the kitchen cooking. And at part of that I did enjoy. But then once I got really involved with trying to spread the word of, low carb, keto, carnivore, I had to use my nighttime to do stuff. I didn't have time to spend 2, 3 hours in the kitchen. And so now, I mean, tonight I made an omelet for my mom and I, and then my husband had leftovers from the other night, and I just stuck a bag of the broccoli in the microwave. It took a total of, I don't know, 10 minutes versus 2 to 3 hours. So, to me, I will stick with it for the simplicity. And plus, I enjoy what I eat. I mean, I just have no desire for like plants anymore. It's very bizarre. The only thing that I can say that I kind of want every once in a blue moon is a bite or two of the inside of a baked potato with zero anything on it. No butter, no sour cream, no cheese, no nothing. Just 2 bites of, I don't ask me why, but that's pretty much it in the plant kingdom. I just don't care anymore. And like I said, I could have gone vegetarian very easily. So, go
gone
figure.
down go figure. I remember, gosh, it was probably, so how long Sean Baker been? When did he do that Joe Rogan podcast? It must have been nearly, 3 years ago?
At least, yeah.
Yeah, because that was my first. So my husband religiously listens to Joe Rogan, and he says to me, check this guy out. He's just eats meat. And of course, as with anything that we come across in life when it's different to what our belief system is, it hits up against that, and our instant reaction is, oh my God, how ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
How on earth can you be healthy and not eat vegetables? So that was my instant reaction. I'll never forget it. And then I'm like, okay, so I put that aside, and I didn't really follow him for a little while. But then, of course, when we allow ourselves to be curious and just, we know we can just be curious about it, I started to follow him and a few different pieces and a few different things. And then, it's one of those things that, I think when you see that the basis of what we're told is based on very little science, look, if it's hard for me to now think I'll never go back to eating greens either, because I understand about lectins and oxalates and the poisons that are in those. But I'll occasionally have a bit of sweet potato and a few berries, like maybe once or twice a week I might have some of that. But I'm pretty much exactly, it's just meat now for me. And the simplicity, exactly what you say. It's so easy. I say to my family, so what do you want tonight? Like, I'll have an array of protein in the fridge. What are we having? And I'm literally sometimes cooking 4 different types of protein, but it's all in one, and I'm like, maybe 18 months ago, I would have gone, oh God, I could never cook more than just one thing. And now I'm like, well, you know what? It's not, it's actually really, really easy.
It is a chicken with a side of steak or a side of bacon or something like that. It's so simple. It's so much simpler. And protein cooks pretty quick. Unless you can always do like the slow cooker thing too. And sometimes I'll do that. I'll throw a roast in and just slow cook it all day when I'm busy or whatever. I'll just throw it in the morning and bam at night. And that's all we have. Sometimes I'll make like a cream gravy using like a heavy whipping cream, maybe some mushrooms or something for my husband and mother. I don't really get into the whole gravy thing anyway, but I could if I wanted to have it, but I just choose not to. But I'll pour that over their meat, and that's it. It's just that simple. I mean, all it take is, these little tongs and pull off the meat, put it on a plate, put the gravy over top, and bam, there you go.
Yeah. So what do you say? So, because now you coach people and you help people, successfully transition to keto, carnivore, however it looks for the individual. So what about something like calcium, and what about, we've talked about the fiber, and I think there's plenty out there if people are curious to see that fiber is one of those myths based on very little science, and our guts do really well. Like when I transitioned, I didn't have the same it wasn't as quick for me. I definitely had a month like Joe Rogan did, of like interesting guts. But I, like,
Mhm.
again, that, we're all going to respond differently to it. And I think, it's never going to be the same for everybody, but that's part of the process, healing the gut. But let's talk about a few of the myths around the carnivore. So,
Mm.
what about vitamin C? What
Ha
about
ha.
folate? And what about
Okay.
calcium? So, what's your knowledge around that?
Okay, well, we'll talk about vitamin C, and that's because I just tested for that, and I've taken some vitamin tests, various ones through the via mail kind of things like Everlywell and Let's Get Checked, and places like that, and I tried this new thing. It's by Vessel. I don't know if you've seen that. It is the coolest thing ever. They're test strips, and
Mm.
they're big. I wish I had it here, dang it. But they're like this big. They're big, but they
Mhm.
measure a bunch of different stuff. They measure like your cortisol, your pH, your creatine, your vitamin C, ketones,
Mm.
anyway, a bunch of stuff, and it's all on one strip, and
Is
it's a
it
pee
through
strip.
blood? Like, oh, it's a
No,
wee.
it's a pee
Okay.
strip, yeah,
Okay.
and so what I did, I peed in a cup because, trying to pee on a strip, yeah, I'm not so good at that. Anyway, then you just, like, dip it in, and you count to 1, you pull it out, and then you wait 3 minutes, and you kinda dry it off, and then there's a barcode, a scan code, and you take your phone, and you have an app that goes with this, and then you
Mm.
just scan that code, and then it gives you your readings, bam, like that.
What?
It is the coolest
Wow.
thing, and it's supposed to be fairly accurate. So it gives you a range of where you fall. Like if you're low, you're where you should be, or you're too high.
Mm.
And there's not a specific number. But really, for us, do we really need a specific number? For me, no, I don't. But
Mm.
anyway, okay. So first of all, meat does have vitamin C in it. It's just not in big quantities. And the
Mm.
other thing that you will find too is that when you're not eating a standard, what we call standard American diet, but I'm sure y'all could probably say the same thing,
Standard
standard
Australian diet.
Australian diet, same
Mhm.
thing,
Yeah.
probably similar anyway.
Mm.
And because there's so much sugar and carbs involved, that it tends to compete with the vitamin C. So somebody on that kind of a diet is going to need more vitamin C than somebody
Mhm.
who's eating very clean. Okay, so first there's that. Okay, so I tested. Guess what my reading was on vitamin C? I do not take supplements for vitamin C or anything like that. Mine was like super high, like
Really?
high, high. Yeah.
Wow.
You might want to stop taking your vitamin C supplements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
Mm.
yeah. So I'm going to have to call BS on that one. And plus,
Mhm.
out of all the carnivores that I know, all the success stories that I've done with people through MeatRx, never once, not one time, have I ever come across anybody who has had scurvy or a really low vitamin C level.
Mm. Yep.
So we can, as far as I'm concerned, I'm putting that to rest. I
Mhm.
mean, if you are eating a proper meat-based diet, meaning you're not eating a bunch of meat and then also eating a bunch of carbs along with it. I mean, that's
Mm.
that's not the same thing as what we
Mm.
do, and
Mm.
yeah, that could be a problem. But beyond that, the vitamin C, not a problem.
Mm.
Folate, I have tested. I think probably 3 of the tests that I did tested for folate, and my folate was awesome. It was in the high normal, so
Mm.
that's not an issue either.
That is
Um,
interesting because, like,
mhm,
it's just, again, this whole understanding around where vitamins and minerals come from in the body. It's just
mhm.
not black and white, is it?
No, it's really
Can't
not.
be.
Mm-mm. And the thing is, the cleaner you eat and the more nutrient dense food you eat, the less of some of that you need. And
Mm.
one thing that did disturb me from the test, and this isn't about me being carnivore or anything, this is me being ridiculously stressed out and having very high cortisol and coming into that point of my life called a menopause. You know how that cortisol kind of, and your hormones are kind of wackadoodle. So I have very extremely high cortisol. I've tested on that
Okay.
strip. That was the fourth test I've taken. I've taken the urine test, blood test, and saliva test. I test out these products. That's why I'm not a test nut. It's just I like to test out the products. I get them sent to me just so I can see how it works. And so I get to test my own stuff too. So it's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
anyway, so 4 times I tested. My cortisol was crazy high. And it was again this time too. And when your cortisol is high, it zaps your magnesium. It has an inverse reaction relationship. So if you have really high cortisol, it's going to take your magnesium. And when you're stressed, the magnesium is used up a lot too. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is my magnesium tested extremely low, and I do supplement magnesium, but my cortisol was really high. So the only deficiency I've noticed so far is magnesium. And it makes sense because I am extremely high in cortisol. So that totally makes sense. But most people, regardless of diet, but especially on the SAD diet, are deplete in magnesium. Because magnesium has like 700 to 800 functions in the body, and they're discovering more and more as we go along. And it's involved in everything, vitamin C processing, vitamin D. I mean, you name it, sleep, your muscles, your everything, your digestion, everything. And so it's incredibly important. And if you eat sugar, it's I can't remember the exact, I want to say it takes like 34 grams of magnesium to make up for 1 gram of glucose, sugar, carbs, whatever. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's a crazy amount.
Crazy.
I may have that wrong, but I think it's somewhere in there.
It's a lot.
But it's a lot. So you're going to need a lot more of that magnesium than I will. But then you throw in the stress and we might kind of even out. So yeah.
So with your high cortisol, is that likely to just sort of dip once, you ride the wave of menopause? Or is there, because people might say, what about the stress of just eating meat? Is that increasing the cortisol in your body?
I don't think so. I don't think that's a thing. I have not read or seen anything and haven't talked to, carnivores who have this issue. Like I said, I've been testing high for about 6 months now, at least. And part of it's a situation because I'm just completely over it. And I am trying to do like 50 million different things at one time. So I put the added stress on myself to begin with. And there may be something else going on inside of me besides just menopause. Like there's so many things that can cause internal stress too, like mold toxicity. There's all these little things and personal products, cleaners, environmental toxins. There's other things. My sleep seems to be good. I wear my little R ring. So I know my sleep is pretty decent. I have my time sometimes when I, don't go to bed when I should, those kind of things, or I kind of go out dancing and stay out late, but other than that, I have good quality sleep. So it's not that. That can affect it too. But
also too, like oxalates. They say that the oxalate dumping can happen over 10 years. If you've had, that's just, I think that's such a thing people are starting to really understand now. That would increase your cortisol surely when that was going on in your body.
You would think.
Yeah.
I've had nothing else relating to oxalate dumping. And I was always worried about that, to be honest, because, oh goodness, like I said, from the age of 3, I was a 3-year-old kid who begged for a can of spinach for breakfast. Hello, Popeye. You know, and I love that. And so, yeah, no, I'm serious. I did. And so
Wow.
I mean, I, as a kid, I loved vegetables. There was not a problem. The
Mhm.
only one I didn't like, only one was asparagus. No clue why. But asparagus I couldn't do. I don't know. But everything else I would eat. And I didn't really eat a whole lot of meat, really. Yeah, I like carbs and bread, obviously. I mean, who didn't, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, so I just yeah.
So what
And so the
about
opposite.
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. And
No,
where I
you
was
go,
going
darling.
with that, I kind of
Yeah.
forgot where I was going with
Yeah.
that. But the oxalates, anyway, from a young age, I really had a lot of oxalates. And then when I went keto, well, you get all into the nut flours. Oh, good gosh. You talk about a crap ton of oxalates in that. And then once I started learning about oxalates, I was like, oh, crap. Oh, this is
Mm.
going to be ugly. Oh, my goodness. And so I kept waiting for the ball to drop. I kept waiting for kidney stones or gout or I don't know, something to show up, arthritis, something in my joints, or, this, weird stuff on my face or something. And I didn't. And I kept not, and I kept not, and I kept not. And then I moved to carnivore and I was like, oh God, this is going to be bad because I just got rid of all plants now. Oh God. I never associated any issue I might have had to that. But now that you bring that up, who knows? Maybe
Mhm.
that's the one thing, but I think it's more situational, to be honest. And I'm
Yeah.
working on it, but gosh dang it, it's so
I
hard. I'm
know.
trying the breathing and the stress management. And just so you know, I'm not really that kind of person. I'm very type A, and I'm like, I don't take naps. I don't lay down. I don't I've got to be doing something. I can't sit and watch TV. I can't even do that anymore. It's background noise. The only time I watch a show is when we go to bed at night and we'll watch one or two shows of a series. And that's the only time I can focus. And to be honest, I pretty much fall asleep through halfway of it anyway. So it's, one of those things. What can I tell you?
Mm, So what about calcium? If you're not having
Calcium.
dairy, is there a concern around getting enough calcium?
No, I mean, my calcium is tested perfectly fine. I have
Mm.
zero issues with calcium. Um, I don't know of anybody in the community that has had issues with calcium. I mean, I, I'm sure there's
Mm.
probably somebody out there who has, but it
Yeah.
is it is not a common thing that I hear about. And
Yeah.
lots of carnivores don't eat dairy. A lot don't.
I know. Yep.
You find out that a lot of people do have issues with dairy. And I'll be honest, I know I do too, but gosh dang it, sometimes. And heavy cream, it's my thing. I'm just going to say
Mm.
I can give up
Mm.
anything else, chocolate, all this stuff. I used to love bread, even margaritas, all that kind of stuff. It's like I don't care about that. But heavy cream, ooh,
Yeah, I'm the
that's a hard
same.
one. It's a hard
Yeah.
one. I
Yep.
need to get rid
Yep.
of it. I know that,
Mm.
but
Small steps.
yeah, I can get rid of the cheese and stuff. I'm just kind of on an omelet craze for some reason.
I've
And
noticed that on your
yeah,
Instagram.
what is that? Because eggs tend to make me nauseous. I have some
Mm.
reaction to egg. It's nothing severe, but it's
Mm.
just, and I don't really crave them because it does make me nauseous. So it tends me, but I have literally been craving omelets. I want the egg, I want the meat in my omelet, and I want the bubbly cheese. I don't even eat cheese. So I don't even know
Funny.
where that's coming from. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I know.
no, that's not something I'm normally do. And it's a good thing because like I said, I started noticing, flaky scalp and the rash on my eye and the
Mm.
rosacea, because
Mm.
it doesn't just go away and never come back. If you start eating stuff that irritates, it's going to come back. It's kind of
Yeah.
a form of an autoimmune issue. So
Mm.
that's with anything. I mean,
Mm.
even
Mm.
obesity. If you go back to eating the junk, guess what? You're going to be obese
Mhm.
again, so
Yeah, it's funny, isn't
yeah.
it, how we think sometimes we're just gonna get to a point and then we'll be
Hmm.
able to just I don't know what we tell ourselves, but you're right.
Yeah.
It's you
No,
can't. No,
nope,
no.
nope,
And the
nope.
thing is too, once you've been there, you just don't have that, it's gonna be a lot quicker to get back there too. It's not
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it was that build up over
That's
years.
exactly right.
Yeah, you
Hmm.
lose that, I don't know, what do you like that bandwidth, it's just so much shorter before you're bam back there again.
And the older you get
Yeah.
too,
Yeah,
because you've
some of
had
that
all
things.
those years,
Mm,
to do these things to your body. Oh God.
yeah.
I mean, 40 years of damage to my body. So,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I think sometimes too we underestimate. Well, we kind of think that the keto or the low carb or the carnivore is the it's a I don't know, it's got more superpowers maybe, and sometimes
yeah. Yeah.
we really our bodies are amazing, but not
Right.
necessarily. It doesn't mean we're bulletproof. I think we still have to
As you
accept.
found out with
Hmm.
Hashimoto's, yeah.
That's
That
right.
that that was just shocking to me, but that does go to prove just like what you're saying. And
Yeah.
I do the podcast of success stories for those who have gone on a meat-based diet, and all these wonderful things happen. And it's true. I know some of
Mm,
these people personally. They're not
mm,
lying, but
mm,
I think it's also one of those things where somebody comes into it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, all these people are having these wonderful things happen," and they are. But to think that it's going to be the same exact experience for them may not be true, because
yeah.
it depends on the extent of the damage, how long it's happened, your genetics, your situation, how strict are you with the diet, what would you have to do. So your experiences may not be the same, and you may not be able to cure Hashimoto's. You may not be able to completely reverse like type 2 diabetes. Most of the time you can't. But there are, situations where it's gone so far that there's so much damage done that
Yeah.
even, not that you won't have benefits if you switch to a meat-based diet or even keto. Yes, you're going to improve your situation. Yes. But
Mm,
it may not be that unicorn, rainbow, miracle. And that does kind of bother me, when I have a client and they come to me and they're so full of hope. And there is hope. Of course, there's always hope.
yeah.
But at the same time, you can't guarantee and tell them, yes, by doing this diet, you will 100%, be riding on that unicorn.
Mhm.
It just
Mhm.
doesn't always happen that way. And sometimes it takes a long time.
Yeah.
You hear these, oh, I lost 50 pounds in 3 months and la 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 la.
Oh,
And I've
yeah.
cured every disease ever known to man.
Mm,
And, and, and,
mm,
and, and I did it in that 3 months. Well, the next person may not be able to fully heal every single thing. And it may take 2 years. It may take 3 years. It may
yeah.
take longer. There's
Yeah.
no, set time or,
No.
miracle, whatever you want to say. And yeah,
Yeah.
I do 100% agree with you there. Yeah, I think
And that's
sometimes it's looked at as this, and
yeah,
it
yeah.
is in many cases, it is, but
Well, that's right. I mean, it's important, but as like Michelle Doka says, it's part of the puzzle. And I think that,
yes.
there's usually a lot more other
Oh,
healing that
yes,
has to
yes,
be
yes.
done
And
and
that's
that's
what I'm finding
hard.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and that's hard. That's the harder part because I think the
it
nutrition
is.
side of it, it's much more. It's kind of. I'm not saying it's easy because there's always challenges with food,
Yes.
and as we know, our relationship to food and undoing all that
Oh,
stuff. But it's a little bit more scientific and a little bit more
mhm.
black and white in a way, whereas the healing that has to come within is a lot more. I don't know. It's just a little bit harder sometimes for people to grasp and looks a little bit scarier, but I think
Yeah.
it's really
And it's
important.
frustrating. It's very
Yeah.
frustrating. And I talk to a lot of people in that boat where they're like, I don't understand. I am doing everything exactly like I'm
Yeah.
supposed to. And then
Yeah.
you're like, okay, now it's time to dig a little deeper. Let's dig
Yeah.
a little deeper. How's your stress level? Hello, that's where I'm at. And
Mm. Mm.
are you getting out and getting some sun? Are
Mm.
you getting in touch with nature a little bit? Are you getting out? Are you, you know, grounding?
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do. Are you getting quality sleep? Quantity, that can be okay too, but quality. is even more important, because you can
Yeah.
sleep 9 hours and have crap sleep, and that
Mm.
doesn't do you any good. There's so many parts to the puzzle. And then again, like we talked about, the environmental toxins, some you
Mm.
can control, some you can't.
Yeah.
And you got to do the best you can. And you got to start somewhere and start weeding out. So starting with the diet is excellent. I mean, that's a great place to start. And then you go from there and you start figuring out things. And even within the diet, there's so many different nuances, that you can just, there's so much. And it can
Mm.
be a very frustrating thing, especially nowadays, because there's just so much. I mean,
Yeah.
our ancestors didn't have to deal with a lot of what we're dealing with, desk jobs, being inside, artificial lights instead of the sunlight, and, all the stuff you put on your face and the chemicals you clean with, and perfume, and, you name it. There's
Mm.
just so much. I had
Mm.
this incident happen to me Friday. I put on my makeup and we were going out dancing. I was like, ooh, I'm going to wear my glitter eyeliner on top of my other eyeliner. And I have used it like 3 different times already. No issue. Well, I put it on, and shortly after, it's like suspended in a gel. And shortly after, I felt this kind of a pinchy feel. It's kind of like if you have glue or something and it dries and it pulls your skin, or a
Mm.
gel.
Mm.
And that's what I
Mm.
thought it was. And I was like, well, that's irritating, but okay. And then when I got home and I took off my makeup, my eyelids, like right above my eyelashes, were swollen like in a band, and they were super red, like an orangey red, and it hurt. It stung. The next morning, Saturday morning, my eyes were swollen shut. Swollen shut.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had some
Wow.
kind of bizarre reaction. But that goes to tell you, the chemicals
Mm.
that you're using
Mm.
and the
Mm.
stuff that's in makeup, it's terrible. And you
Mm.
don't know, what if that's the one thing that's tipping you over? That
Yep.
alone probably is not the issue. But if you have a bad diet, you're not getting good sleep, you're not, your stress is through the roof, then you add that external stuff, like makeup or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you have this crazy reaction. Who's to know
Yeah.
that that's not that one thing that tipped you over?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's interesting, and I think that's so true, that it's rarely one thing, it's the combination, and
Hmm.
it
It
piles on top
is.
of each other, and eventually our body's natural systems just don't, they can't cope. And I think, exactly what you say though, starting with diet is it's the best place to
Hmm.
start. So most people
Absolutely.
watching this will be probably they're low carb in some way, whether they're low carb, carnivore, keto, but I, what if there's some people watching who are eating the standard diet, that are maybe plant-based, that are doing that because, they think it, or they've been told it's the best thing for their health? Where would, but they're curious, especially after this awesome week on how meat is so good for us and the planet and healing everything. Where would you, like, if they came to you, and you were their coach, like, where would they start?
Uh, I would just tell them, everybody has different goals and issues, and not everybody needs to go as extreme as carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just all depends on your situation. So if they have some issues that they have not been able to address in any other way, why not give this a go? Why not give it a go? And you can start easy. You can start, just getting rid of the stuff that is not good for you. Number one, processed foods. Nobody, I don't care what diet you follow, nobody, including the gluten-free people who think that because they need to eat gluten-free, that the alternatives, as in processed foods, is what they need. No, whole foods are also gluten-free. Just FYI. Vegetables, fruit, and meat. Gluten-free. It's all good. Yeah. So, yeah, I had this thing this week over a post on gluten, whatever.
Oh, really?
But yeah, yeah, you should go back and check it out.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just like, really? Okay. Pretty sure that's not what that meant, but okay. But okay,
Mm.
yeah. Anyway, so get rid of the processed food. Nobody needs processed food. What is processed food? anything that pretty much is bagged. Yeah, bag that has like a list of ingredients, like a bunch of
Yeah.
other than just a couple ingredients. I mean, yeah, there's some decent stuff that just have like a single ingredient that happens to be in a can. Like there are some good tuna or sardines, those kind of things. But I think most people understand what processed food is, I hope. So
Mm,
get rid of that. And
mm,
sugar, which is, a processed food and found in processed foods, that has to go. It just has to go.
mm,
And I know there's people out there, oh, moderation on everything. Yeah, no, sugar
mm,
moderation. No, just no.
mm.
Nobody needs
No.
that. It has
Yeah.
zero nutritional value, zero, zero, zero. I'm not saying you can't have it every once in a while or whatever if you think it fits with what you're doing. Okay. And I actually had a a flourless chocolate torte on my birthday. Of course, I only had like 4 bites because it's way too rich for me now, but it has very low sugar or whatever, but it's pretty much just chocolate and heavy whipping cream pretty much. But anyway,
Mm,
I occasionally will do something too. I'm not perfect. And I choose to do some things like that. Anyway, sugar needs to go. And seed oils. Seed oils have to go. What is a seed oil? Well, vegetable oil is another name for it. And soybean oil, canola, corn oil, all that, no. And be very careful about your olive oil and your avocado and your coconut oil too, because sometimes as soon as it hits the shelves, it's already rancid, number one.
yeah.
And number
Yeah.
two, it can be mixed with the seed oil. And so
Mm-hmm.
be really careful. There's very few in actual store, at least in the US, that are pure. So be careful with
Mm,
that. Anyway, so seed oils need to go. That is a great start right there. A great
yeah.
start. And then if you're finding that you're still not addressing whatever it is you need to address, whether it's a health issue or a weight issue or whatever, then start going further down, like where you're getting rid of starchy vegetables and just stick with like broccoli and cauliflower and leafy green if you can tolerate it, and get rid of the grains. Those need to go. I'm sorry, nobody needs grains. I know I'm going to get attacked on that one, but no, you really
Not in this, you
don't.
won't.
No, 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 no. It does so much damage. Come
Mm,
on.
mm,
So get rid of those
mm,
grains. Just get rid of them, all of them. And of course, your pastas, some people, will say rice can be okay. I just say, no, unless you're like a bodybuilder who works out a lot
mm,
and can, you're young and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, so get rid of all of that and then start just paring it down until you get to your sweet spot. And if
mm,
you
mm,
need to go carnivore, go for it. Try it out. What's it going to hurt? Do it for 30 days. See if you don't feel better. Check out your digestion. If you have Crohn's, if you have celiacs, if you have constipation issues, if you
mm,
IBS, all of those, try carnivore. Yes, maybe at the beginning you might have some transitional issues. Okay. That is to be expected, and you got to just give it a little bit of time. But you may be shocked. You may be shocked to find that it's actually fiber you don't need, where you're being
mm.
told you need more to cure these issues. That can be the cause of your issues. Hello, me. And so it's worth a try. What is it going to hurt? So,
Mm,
keep weeding out things to find out where you need to be. Like I said, not everybody has to go that extreme. I don't have to go that extreme, I suppose, but it's like I said, the simplicity, and it makes me feel great. And I have zero
yeah.
digestive issues. I have no desire to go back to anything.
Mm,
I wouldn't know really, other than, a couple of bites of potato or, something along those lines every now and then. But
mm,
yeah, anyway, so you just keep going along until you find what really is working for you. But carnivore also is a really good elimination diet. So if you don't know what affects you, why not give it a go for 30 to 60 days? Eliminate everything but basically red meat, salt, and water, maybe some spices, maybe coffee. And wait 30 to 60 days and then start introducing foods again that you think you just really want. Like, say you love broccoli, so you got to have broccoli in your life. Okay, for that 1 week, eat broccoli. See what your body does. If it responds well, you have no issues. Okay, cool. broccoli it is. Then the next week you can add in, I don't know, asparagus or whatever, and check that. Go for a week without changing anything else, because you don't want to keep switching things up, and see how that works. And then you can gradually add back in things to where you know what works for your body.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be a little bit different. So, I think that's just really important for people to understand that. And people will tell you too, oh, I have no issue with dairy, or I have no issue with blah, blah, blah. How do you know? Have you ever done without it long enough to find out? Have you? Because I will tell you, I didn't. And I said the same thing. Oh, dairy doesn't bother me. I've had dairy my whole life. La, la, la. Well, yeah, guess what? The first, I don't even know how long it was, I had no dairy. I mean, it was like for a year I had no dairy. And when I introduced it back in a little bit, yeah, I have an issue with dairy. Yeah, I do. And I would have sworn to you, and I would have put my hand on a Bible and told you I have no issue. So you don't know, is my point, until you eliminate it and try and see.
That's right.
And if you're really interested, on seeing how your body works, I love that elimination diet. I think it is just the coolest thing, a great tool, I guess, is what I'm saying. It works really well for a tool. And, I highly suggest this to my clients, okay, let's give this a go. Let's just put 100% effort for 30 days. You can do it for 30 days, right? 30 days is nothing, or at least it isn't for me these days. Bam, it's gone. But, and see how, you react and learn your body, because we are all a little bit different. And I think it's so important to know your own body, not my body. Don't do what I do, because you don't have my body. You don't have my experiences. You don't have my situation. You don't have my issues. You got to do what works for your body.
Yeah. That's such great advice. And I think it's important to, for people, exactly what you say, these things don't bother me, but you're right. I mean, our body is so good at adapting, and our brain adapts, we get used to, like I did. I got used to just feeling tired all the time, and having heat in my body after I ate certain foods. And, it was just, I just got used to it, and then it just becomes a part of you. But it is so amazing to do that experiment, which I've done it as well, obviously. And, just starting to look at it as a really good, fun experiment.
Yes.
I think sometimes we think, we have so much fear driven into us about micronutrients and having to get them from plants and stuff like that, that we think, oh my God, imagine taking them out for 30 days. Well, you would be fine.
It's so shocking. I know. I felt that way too. I get it. I understand, because we have been indoctrinated so hard that we must have this. But here's the thing. We're not a rabbit or not a cow, and we can't absorb the nutrients that are in those plants like some other animals can. We don't have that ability. I'm not saying we don't get some. I'm not saying there's not some benefit to a degree. But when you see it on paper, and like broccoli, oh my gosh, broccoli is the thing, right? And you look at all the nutrients, you're like, wow, broccoli is cool. It can beat meat. Yeah. But we can't absorb it all. So, and not only that, it has anti-nutrients in it too, which battles with the absorption also. So, plants have to have a defense mechanism, right? So they're going to do it in a different way. They can't get up and run off. Of course, they have some kind of mechanism. And being that we aren't rabbits, and that kind of thing, our bodies are meant for something a little bit different. I'm not saying that we haven't adapted or that we can get some value from plants. I'm not saying that, and I'm not bashing plants. I mean, if it works for you and it doesn't give you issues, hey, go for it. I loved them too. I get it. So that's all good. But to pretend that it's so much more nutrient dense than meat is no. It's just no.
Yeah. And you're so right. Like it's been so caught up in some ideology as well. And people feel guilty, for eating animals and all that stuff that, again, is just, we've just got to overcome it all. I mean, I've had Peter Ballestead, I've got on this week talking about the interconnectedness of all things. So, animals, like ruminants, heal the planet, they heal us, and it's
Yes.
all connected. And we don't need to feel guilty about that
Mhm.
stuff. And again, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you're deluded if you don't think something's died for what you're eating.
Oh,
And
yeah.
also the processing of those products, it's not
Mhm.
on, you just have to just step back a little bit and look at the broader picture and look a
Mhm.
little bit deeper, and you'll see very quickly that it's just a vested interests that are pushing this ideology. And you just try it and see how amazing
Yeah.
you will feel.
Yeah, and it's just so sad that, you're made to feel guilty for something that we were designed to take in for our nutrient needs.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been called a murderer. Oh God, some really, really nasty stuff. And trust
Mm,
me, I am the biggest animal lover. Oh my goodness. I
mm,
mean, I love animals. I'm the goof that would just run up to a lion. Oh, how cute. Let me kiss you on the nose, I hang over the fence to talk to a dog. I don't care how big the dog is. I'm the idiot going over the fence. I'll be the one in the polar bear exhibit. So it is hard, to kind
mm,
of marry that,
mm.
your love for animals, but you also understand that is the circle of life. It's the circle of life. And if you want to be a healthy person, mentally, emotionally, physically,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You
Yeah.
need that nutrient dense food. And,
Mm,
I appreciate each and every animal that, we we consume,
mm.
because they provide something very necessary.
Yeah.
And, it completes
Mm.
the circle. It does.
Yeah.
And one day
Yeah.
we'll be part of that circle too. So,
That's right. 100%. 100%.
mhm.
So maybe to finish, Amber, can you share with us who are the people that you learn from? So who are the people that just that you look to keep learning?
Oh gosh, there are a lot, but I will say that, of course, you have your Dr. Sean Baker, Dr. Ken Berry, you have Carnivore Yogi, Sarah. I also Danielle. Uh, Gosh, I can't remember now. Daniel Hamilton Health. I can't remember what her
Danielle Hamilton. Yeah.
is. That her name on Instagram?
It's Danielle Hamilton Health.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
She's excellent. I repost a
Hmm.
lot of her stuff because I love her.
Yeah.
Perpetual Health. His name is Jay. He is
Yes.
phenomenal with
Yeah, I
information.
love.
I call him
Yeah.
my information guru. Look him up,
Oh,
Perpetual
okay.
Health.
I think it's
He's
Perpetual Health
excellent.
Co. or something, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
should know these call
Yeah.
names. But yeah, so those are some of the big ones that I repost a lot from. And yeah,
So are
those
you
are
on
my big ones.
Instagram mainly? Is that your
That's my
main?
big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
everywhere, but
Yeah.
I spend most of my time on Instagram. That seems to be a really good platform for what we do. And for now, anyway, we'll see. But
Mm.
yeah, Instagram,
Mm.
Lone Star Keto Girl. I'm also on YouTube. I have a podcast. It's called Lone Star Keto. And I have a lot of really good guests, some of my bigger mentors. Oh, Jimmy Moore, too. Jimmy Moore,
Mm-hmm.
living low carb. Yeah. So, yeah, I learn a lot from him as well. I mean, there's just so many good ones, and I just can't think right now. It's it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
late here, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it
my
is late,
brain
darling. Yeah, and I'm gonna
for
let
me.
you go. And thank you so much for showing up and sharing with us your knowledge and wisdom and being part of Meat Week. And keep
Absolutely.
don't just keep doing you and keep doing the beautiful work that you're doing, because so many people are being inspired to change their life and better their health because of what you do. So thank you so much, Amber. It's so
Thanks,
honoured to know
Tracy.
you. Thank you, darling.